Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a little soft glam makeup tutorial. This tutorial will be really good for beginners because I'm breaking down what products I'm using, the techniques from brushes to hand placement, everything to achieve this soft glam look. No need for the long intro. Hope you guys enjoy the video. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I also have my other socials on here. So we're starting fresh face, no makeup, nothing. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is moisturize. I don't have eczema as bad anymore the older I get, but I like using a thick moisturizer, especially in the winter. So once I'm done with that, I just like to fan it in a little bit. And then I use two primers. So first I use this MAC Studio Radiance primer. Do about 2 little lines like this. And just put it on my face. And then I use the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I've also used the actual Milk Primer. I don't see much of a difference, so I just go for the more affordable one. And same thing, 2 little lines. And sometimes it's good to just pat it in, as well as rubbing it a little bit. I take the Charlotte Tilbury, this is a setting spray, but I use it also as a priming spray. Seal it all in. Okay, then I wait like, honestly, 2 to 3 minutes and let that sit. I would say for like a full glam look, like, let's say 2 pumps to start out with. And I like to warm it on the back of my hand. And then just start swiping. I like to start on the perimeter of my face and work my way in. You don't want to focus too much here because we're going to put concealer there anyway. So focus more on the outside. I'm going to do a little bit more. We'll do like another half pump. The key to a full like soft glam makeup look is you have to use a decent amount of product. Like, this isn't a light bead. If you really want this to show up in photos and videos and get that like flawless look, you need to put the product on. Girl, I had to make sure I was recording. For my makeup brushes, I really like to use the Bedelium brushes. They're blue and look like this. I will link these down below. These are like professional grade brushes. I highly recommend them because they last for a long time. I got these back in 2021. I've washed them countless amounts of times. No shedding. These are really, really good quality brushes. Okay, so I also like to spray my brush one time. And then for foundation, the key to making it look flawless is you want to pat. You don't want to rub your makeup on because then you're just rubbing the product away. You're going to get streaks and it's just not going to look as good. So, like I'm doing here, just pat. And this is going to take a little bit longer than if you were to swipe it, but the end result is worth it. Some people take it down to their chin and chest. I personally don't do that because not the chin, the neck and the chest. My chest is a little bit lighter, but I match to my face. And then when the foundation settles, it ends up looking uniform. If you guys are having trouble matching your foundation, I'd suggest going to Sephora. And especially if you're a black girl, make sure you get a black woman or man, just a black makeup advisor at Sephora to match you. And knowing your undertone is very, very important. A foundation can be like the right complexion for you, but the wrong undertone, and then it's still going to make you look off. You see how it's blending in seamlessly? If I were to swipe it, I would not get this effect. Ooh, my arm kind of hurts. And for the types of brush you want to use for your foundation, you want to use something that's more dense as opposed to something like this that's fluffy. This is like meant for powder, this is for liquid or cream foundation. The denseness of the brush gives you a full coverage look, where if you were to use something like this is my blush brush. Like if you use something like this, it's not as dense. Your foundation isn't going to look as flawless. It is going to look a little bit more streaky. So this is from Real Techniques. This is a more affordable option to the Bdellium. This is a very good foundation brush. It's nice and dense. What's another example? Okay, this, I got this years ago. I don't know where it's from, but this is another good example of a nice dense brush. So our foundation is all in. Next, we want to do a concealer, and this is going to be a skin tone concealer. This is meant to color correct a little bit. I don't use like the orange green correctors. I just use something close to my skin tone. And what we're going to do is, you naturally have darker pigmentation sometimes under your eyes and around your like mustache area. So I take this concealer, and the reason why we use a concealer as opposed to a foundation, concealers are a little bit more heavy than foundation and provide you with more coverage. And these are the areas that you need just that little bit of extra pigment and coverage. So I just put it under here and here. And this is customized to where you have more pigment. So if you had more on like your chin area, a little bit on your forehead, ooh, you would just dab it in those places. But I'm just going to put it under my eyes, around the top of my mouth. And you want to let that sit. Then for my eyebrows, I personally do not fill in my eyebrows because I already have pretty thick hairs. I take this Got To Be gel and I just brush up. So you brush up like this, and then you just smooth out the top. So brush up, smooth. If you were to want to fill in your brows, you would fill them in before applying the gel. About, I want to say less than $12. This was a pretty affordable product, and I honestly find that it works better than the Anastasia. Next, we are going to carve out our brows. You want to use a flat top brush for this. This would also work as well. So I'm going to take a lighter concealer. You want to make sure just to grab a little bit. You don't need a lot of concealer for this part. And you're just going to go under your brow. Go like this. Like, raise your eyebrow. Just like that. You don't want to go too light or too heavy because you don't want it to look like you outlined your eyebrows. It just doesn't look as flattering. Especially for that soft glam look. Take this brush I had shown you guys and blend it out. So raise again. Remember, we're patting. Okay, so there you go. Got my eyebrows. And now we will blend out this concealer. So for concealer, I like to use specific brushes. This one is from Real Techniques. It's the 402 brush. Very good brush, highly recommend. So for concealer, remember, before you want to pat, don't swipe. And I like to start on the outside and work my way in. So this isn't meant to brighten, it's more so meant to correct when we're doing the skin tone shade. So you see? And ideally, I did not have the time, but you want to start with clean brushes. And then I take this Real Techniques brush. This can also be used as a foundation brush. And I'm going to pat this in. Okay, and here we go. So next you want to use your highlight concealer. So I use multiple. I have Born This Way. I have One Size. And then I also have, like I showed you guys, Haus Labs. So these are my three babies. I use a brighter color towards my actual tear duct. So today I want to mix. So I'm going to use a little bit of TooFaced. I'm going to use the One Size in the middle a little bit. I don't know how it shows up on camera, but the One Size and TooFaced are basically the same color. And then I want to use this one, which is only semi-brightening on the outside. Okay. I do a touch more. And honestly, you guys do not need too much concealer because we already did that under color. You don't want it to look too cakey. So this is my concealer gradient. While this is cooking, I'm going to start bronzing. So I have my Milani bronzer. And for bronzing, I like to use like a flat kabuki brush. This one is from Sonia Kashuk. I just like to dip directly into my product. And you want to make sure you put the bronzer a little bit higher. Now the difference between bronzer and contour, bronzer is more warm tone and then contour is more cool tone and tends to be a little darker. I like to bronze for that soft glam look. I really don't contour that much. But you're going to want to hit your cheekbones, your forehead. Some people do their jaw. This is like optional for me. I don't stress about my jaw too much. And I like to go heavy on the cream bronzer because I also set with a powder. And we're going to do that a little later. Okay. There we go. I don't know if you guys can tell that well on camera. This isn't too full coverage. This has a pretty, not sheer, but pretty medium coverage effect. I love, love, love Milani products. They're affordable and I think they work great. The Real Techniques, as well as this Bedellium brush. This is 88. And I'm going to link all these brushes and products below. This is a very dense blending brush. So I start near my tear duct and then work my way out, making sure to pat. And one thing I don't like to do is bring my concealer too down. I don't want to keep it too up either, but try not to have it go below like the bottom of your nose. And this is going to vary based on your specific face shape, but I feel like that's a good overall guide. Once I blend it out a decent amount with the Bedellium, I'm going to go in with the Real Techniques. And then once that's set, I don't want this harsh line here, so I'm going in with the Real Technique. And then just like that. So now we're going to work on this side. I do a little bit of concealer on my forehead. I don't like to go too light, so I'm going to take that concealer that's just a bit lighter. Or not as highlighting, like it's not just a bit, it's pretty light, but it's not as light as the One Size. Okay, just going to leave that there. And then before I powder, I like to blush. So I use this Milani blush. I'm only going to show you guys the back because the front looks crazy. And then I use this brush. And I like to place my blush a little bit high because I don't want it to mix with my bronzer and become too muddy. So I'm just going to smile. And I hold the brush, not like this. I hold it like this. So my smile looks crazy. Okay. Okay, and then while I do that, before I powder, I just want to blend out again because creases come very easily. And we are going to start off with two Huda Beauty powders. I have one in Banana Bread and then one in Blondie. Banana Bread is the lighter shade and Blondie is a bit more orange. And then I also have my Derma Blend powder that is translucent. So what we're going to do is blend. Blend. And then pat your brush in there until you have a pretty good amount of powder. And then you're going to look down at your mirror and pat in. This is how you want to look. So go down. Actually have like that much powder. Pat. And you want to make sure when you do this, you're not like rubbing it in, you're just patting it, and you want to see some of the powder, like some of the powder flecks still there. That's how you know it's sitting nice. Okay. And then after that, you want to take your translucent powder, and I'll just flip the puff to the other side that's clean. Dab a little bit in there. And I only put this in like the inner part, so literally just right there. I don't spread this one out. Okay. Leave that there. And then you're going to take your foundation brush again, and we want to go over our smile lines. So smile lines, as you like talk and laugh and just like express with your face, everyone has little, unless you have filler, everyone has little creases right here, and the makeup can separate during those and then create those two lines. So to make those less noticeable, you want to puff up your face like this. That looks crazy. And then you want to apply powder there. So we're going in with the darker powder in Blondie. And you want to just pat it in. And you want to let that just sit and bake for a little bit. And also, just because you have dry skin doesn't mean you can't bake. I have dry skin, especially in the winter, dry marks and everything. You just have to make sure you prep your skin right so that you don't get dry patches. Okay. And then I do a little bit at the bottom. Okay. And then also I'm going to put a little bit of the leftover concealer on my eyes. That's just going to even everything out. I don't like too much concealer on the eyes, just because it's not necessary. Okay, and then I'm going to take this Real Techniques brush again. I take that darker powder and I just tap with this brush. This is like a dome pointed powder brush. So just tap, 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 tap. I'm going to take a simple eyeshadow brush. This is the MAC 224. I've had this for years. It's a really good blending brush. I'm going to take that darker powder and then go like this. Just swipe it on to set the concealer I put on. You never realize how much oil is on your eyelids. So over time, especially as you put concealer and then other product on it, it can break up if you don't set it. So it's not necessary to get an eyeshadow primer. I just use a little bit of concealer and then set it with powder. And then you also want to make sure you're setting the concealer we put right under the brow. Then I'm going to blend the forehead a little bit more. I zoomed you guys in a little bit so you can actually see how I do my eyeshadow. So we are going to start. I'm going to use this bronzer. This is Juvias Place in my MAC 224. And I always go like this to tap off the extra powder. And then just go a little bit above your actual eye socket. This is what you call a transition shade by Mario Palette. I highly recommend this. It lasts very long and the shadows are very, very good quality. I'm going to use mainly these two. So I'm going to do a dab of the brown and a dab of the red one. And just let me make sure in frame. And for the motion, I just like to go like this. And you build this up to your desired darkness. Pressed powder. So this one, I'm just going to take my finger. This is my index finger. Then press this on my lid. You take your brush again and just blend it out. Get more concealer. Because sometimes the eyeshadow covers up the powder and the concealer and we want it to look like a nice transition. Take this brush. And this is a really like a trust the process kind of deal with the eyeshadow because I know it looks like I'm covering up what we did, but trust me, it's not gone. So after we do that, I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of powder. Once again, this is the not translucent, this is the Huda Beauty powder. And then just start blending again. Then we're going to go back to the Juvias Place. And I'm going to mix these two a little bit. Just to kind of get a little bit of pigment back. Okay. And there we have it. And now we're going to take this flat top brush. And we're going to dab into the black shadow. It on our eyelid. This depends if you're a lash girl. I am. I'm going to be using the Haus of Lashes, and I think for beginners, dark lash glue is more forgiving. Do is apply the lash glue to your actual eyelid, and you're going to want to do it like you would eyeliner. I like to use tweezers. Some people prefer their fingers. I think tweezers are easier. And tweezer shapes like this, where it's a little more curved, is going to be easier to apply. Extra glue on the actual lash strip. So I'm going to do it on the inner part as well as the end, because the inner and the outer are where it's harder to stick on. Fan your eye, and you want to have a mirror and look directly down and place the lash on top. So first I stick it in the middle like this, and then do the outer, then the inner, and I use this part of the tweezer, and I just press down. And then I also press my actual lashes to the fake lash. Place on the middle. Got a little bit of glue there. We'll clean that up later. Mascara. This is the L'Oreal Telescopic. And then look up, ooh, and just coat your lashes. This also helps to blend it onto the waterline. So I have this black eyeliner from Sephora. You can also use a brown one. I alternate between black and brown depending on the mood. And so what I want to do is first, I like to warm it up on my actual hand. And then you're going to take a powder puff. And you're going to want to go like this. Ooh, it's a little hard for me. And then just line your eye. Whew. For this side. Okay, so these are what the eyes are looking like, and now we're going to zoom out and then wipe off some of this powder. And first, I'm actually going to go like this, and then for the smile lines, you just want to pat instead of swiping. For the powder to really pack it in there, same for the chin. Okay, and then this one is the one that I actually just swipe away instead of patting, because we had a lot of excess under the eye. So swipe, and then pat, pat, pat. Swipe, pat, swipe, pat. That's what we're looking like now. And then I also have this huge, like, it's a double line brush from Sonia Kashuk. I also just like to go like that. Make sure all the powder is off. And then, oh, also my nose, hit it there. What you're going to want to do here is first hit some with the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. And then I have the Fix Plus, but this is the MAC Magic Radiance one. This is 10 times better than the normal Fix Plus. So, first Charlotte. Let it rest in, shake, and then this. Oh. So we let the setting spray kind of marinate. So what we're going to do now is set our bronzer and our blush. So we're going to start with a bronzer. I like to use... Where is it? Okay, so I alternate between these two brushes. I would say for a more concentrated look, you'd want to do a smaller brush, But for more of that soft, glam, whimsical look, I'm going to do this fluffy brush. And I mix these two. So you want to dab, dab, and then just hit your cheeks like this. It's a nice tapping motion. The key of this video is tap. Then you want to hit your forehead. Also chin. Going to take our eyeshadow brush and then do my nose. I'm only going to take the lighter color for my nose because I don't want it to look too heavy. And this is the one time you'll swipe. I don't really pat my nose. I just go like this. And then to blend it out, I'm going to take this little brush that we had used. Just make it look a little bit more seamless. Okay. After we're done with that, I'm going to take the darker powder in Blondie. And this is just to clean up a little bit under. I'm gonna tap, tap, tap. And then honestly just kind of carve it out a little bit. This is what's going to help your face really look snatched. So after you carve it, I just like to pat. And I don't even leave this on for soft glam looks. Then I take this brush and then just make these circular motions to buff it in. Okay, now we're going to go back to our cream blush. And I like to dab some excess on my wrist so it's not too pigmented. Smile. And I like to start right here and then go up for my blush. So blush is like the first to fade with makeup, just with your natural oil. So if you feel like you have too much half the time, like in an hour's time, that much won't be there. And then I'm going to use the Juvias Place blush in volume 4. And I like to tap in both of these using that same exact brush. Just go like this. And I'm a blush heavy girl. And I also put a little bit on the tip of my nose. And then next we are going to take, and this is what is really like the key to that airbrushed look, Charlotte Tilbury powder. I'm going to take a clean side of your, I like to take this thing, just rip it off. Okay, that's embarrassing. I just flipped to the other side, but you're just gonna rub it. Make sure it's coated well. And then you're going to set your under eye. And you want to use a lighter color for this. And I set going all the way up. And yes, I do blend it into my blush because it helps for a nice transition. And we're going to clean it up in just a second. Go back in. This big fluffy brush. And then go back in with the blush and just blend it out. And there you have it. Just make sure everything looks nice. And I like to put this by my nose just so there's no harsh lines. Okay. And then we're going to take a face tone powder. This is the MAC Studio Fix. And I use a powder foundation brush. We're just gonna pat and just pat. L'Oreal Telescopic mascara. For a softer look, you can also use a brown mascara, but I do not have one. It's perfect for the under eye because it's so skinny. See that wand? When it's thicker, it's easier for it to smudge on your actual skin. So now we're just going to set our face. And here's our face. So we are done. This is our soft glam look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll have my socials here and also link down below. And I'm also doing a product breakdown. So I'll have all the products I used. I'll put links and I'll also put the shades that I used for the different face products as well. I will see you guys next time and thanks for watching.